I can. So, built in 1867, in late Victorian times. It only took 4 years to build the garden from scratch, including the castle. There were up to 500 employees on site, coming from all directions in Connemara, but further afield like England, Scotland, Wales. And the craftsmanship was on a really high standard. They compared our garden with Kew Gardens in London or the Botanic Garden in Dublin. So 21 glass houses, they were designed by Cranston's in Birmingham. Again, they used the newest technology to build them. The heating system on its own, I could talk probably a few hours about. And there was a pipe system of 5,000 feet running through all these glass houses, heated by a lime kiln and another set of boilers. So it was on a really high standard. Unfortunately, when Mitchell Henry, who owned and built Kylemore, sold the estate in 1901, and the Duke and Duchess of Manchester, who purchased the place afterwards, didn't have the same interest. So he was a bit of a gambler, and he lost more or less everything. They had to resell until finally the Benedictine nuns in 1920 bought the estate for about £45,000, which is equivalent to about £1.5 million nowadays. So it was a quite substantial amount of money, and they have put a boarding school, international boarding school in there, and a guest house. So until 2010, it was run as a boarding school. So then they had to close down. They found a different way of earn money. So now they're producing their own chocolate and soap products which you can purchase in the shop there as well. So they are still very busy. And again, the nuns didn't have the same, financial backgrounds like the Duke or the Mitchell Henry had. So slowly the garden went into decline. In the 1950s, the last glass house collapsed, for example. And then in 1995, it was decided to restore the garden. We were part of the Great Gardens of Ireland scheme. A bit over 20 gardens were part back then. So we got quite a big amount from about 2 million. We got about $500,000 to restore the garden to its former glory, but only 2 glass houses were restored from the 21 glass houses. So we opened again after a 4-year restoration period. We opened in 2000. So it's our 22nd year since opening, and we won a few awards for the restoration in itself. One of them would have been the Europa Nostra Award in the 6 gardens in Europe. Actually won it that year in 2003. We are probably lucky because we are on the main western White Atlantic Way, so we are getting the bulk of tourists really coming into our direction. It's really getting too busy in the summertime, so we have to see. We are nearly, how do you call it, the victim of our own success. There are different problems attached, even toilets and all the catering. One of the main questions I get is, are we using all the products from our vegetable garden in the restaurant? It's not possible because we could have over 2,000 visitors a day going through that restaurant. So we would be a full production garden if we would do this. So it's more to show the heritage varieties of plants which are still out there and available to grow. We produce our own compost as well, as much as possible. We grow all the plants on site, so it's a nice cycle we are producing in the most natural way. We are not fully organic, but as much as possible. We use a lot of fresh seaweed, for example, as a fertilizer, and so on. A lot of research going on as well.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
What is your favourite time of the year in the garden?
That's a tough one.
When does it look the best?
Well, if you want to have a full flower display, it's the summertime. It will be July, August, September is still a lovely time. A lot of late flowering perennials coming into bloom. Our hibiscus border is the best in the summertime. It's a summer border. Winter I like because you see the layout of the garden. The beds might be empty or half empty, but the layout, the shapes, the original design is very much coming out in the winter time as well. the walls, and all the features which were built then. So I think every season has its own. I have to say this, but that's the way it is. Yeah, every season has its own, favorite parts. Yeah. So we have wheelchair access, but I don't know if you have been to Kylemore. It's kind of going up and down. So not all parts are accessible, and we have scooters as well, which you can hire. But again, not all parts, especially in the garden, would be accessible. In the Abbey, restaurant toilets, yes, there would be. And the long avenues, east-west. Yeah. We are open at 10 o'clock until 6 o'clock at the moment.
I'm sure most of you have probably been there, and if you haven't been there, I hope that Anja has inspired you to go and visit this year. It's a wonderful day out, and certainly I think I'll look at it in a different light the next time I visit, after Anja's insight to the history and the sourcing of her plants and seeds and everything. It's just a fabulous place, very close to us. Now, we also are very lucky here in Westport to have a wonderful garden centre here. There's a fabulous selection of just about everything at the moment, and I hope you'll all take the time to go and have a look, perhaps while you're having your cup of tea or whatever, have a look around and see. They have absolutely everything that you would need for your garden, from compost to plants to ornamental objects, and then of course we always have Jake and Georgina on hand to advise us as to what we should or shouldn't do, and to help us solve our problems. So I'd like to ask Jake just to come and say a few words to us, please. Ron, excuse me, I'm a little tired.
Alright, well, it's great to see so many familiar faces here. I want to say, first of all, thanks for everybody's support over the last few years, and you really help out with everything, and we try and keep as much of a range as possible as we can. And I suppose I should admit, I haven't gone to any of the gardens yet, but hopefully this year there'll be a bit more time, so we'll try and get out to all the gardens. So just from the co-op and the Homeland here, we'd just like to say thanks very much to everybody.
Thanks, Jake, for that, and we do appreciate you putting on this launch for us here today. Thank you very much. So now, Cormac, who is one of our committee, I don't know where Cormac's gone to. Cormac would like to say a few words too.
Thanks, Dean. Welcome everybody today. Just kind of wrap up really just on the launch, but I'd like to thank everybody, I suppose, on the committee who do a lot of work during the winter to get us here, and especially the gardeners. We've got 9 gardeners this year, but even the past gardeners over the last couple of years have really inspired us all, and I suppose to keep us motivated on the committee to keep doing this tour, because it's a great benefit. Over the last couple of years with COVID and the restrictions, I think we all realised how important gardens are for us. Myself, even I did a lot of work in the garden, so it's great to have that outlet, I suppose, and it's very important that I suppose that we nurture and keep the gardens going as best we can during the year. It's great to see that the weeds weren't affected by COVID, so it kept us busy during those 2 months of lockdown. There's a great selection of gardens on the trail this year, so it's great to see that the variety and something to take home from each one of them. And every garden you go to, even if you visit 3 or 4 times, you'll always pick up something new. So I'd encourage you to visit all the gardens. As June said, on the back is the calendar there, so you can tick off all the dates as you go through them. I'd like to thank Anja for the talk on Kylemore, because again it's a great place to visit. It's a great day out, and you can actually have the food out. It's great, great facilities. And again, I'd like to thank Jake and everybody here in Homeland for facilitating us here today. It's great to see the big crowd, and we're looking forward to having a great time on the tour, and we're looking forward to seeing some maybe new members next year, or old members might be coming back as well. So I'm just going to leave it with that for today. If some of the members want to come forward for this year's trail, we just want to go through a bit of administration before you run away with the voters. and the rest of you are welcome to some tea and coffees. Okay, so we'll talk to you and we'll see you on the trail. Enjoy. Thank you.